history with Zenit cameras way back to the 70s when my dad bought me a Zenit E, and I've always loved them. That love for the sort of just chunky Russian Soviet style of things. It's a bit tempered with the shite that's going down in Ukraine, and Russia's completely bollocks reasons for invading, and but we won't go into that here. What we have here is the Zenit KM Plus, which is the last camera to be manufactured by Zenit. Production started in 2004, I think, and it was released in 2005, which means that this camera here is actually younger than Facebook. So that's sort of interesting. So it's still got that chunky Soviet stuff about it. The lens I've got on it is one that I got, it's a random came out lens that I had. I really like to get my hands on the MC Zenitar that came with this camera, just so they can be reunited. And so that's, if I start making lots of money off YouTube, which is highly unlikely, I can start funding my obsession with old film cameras. There is some attempt at ergonomics. There's your shutter button, your wind on display, self timer, shutter speed controls, and it is a real chunky beast of a thing. As you can see, it's got DX coding, and there's a window there where you can see the film speed that's installed in it, and there is the button for releasing the back of the film. Shutter speed goes up to 2000ths of a second, which is really pretty fantastic for a camera, an old film camera, and it takes 4 double A batteries in there. And yep, so we'll get on to how you actually use this thing. It has a few idiosyncrasies, and yeah, I quite like it. Though the last time I used it, I did have a problem with the winding on mechanism, that it just suddenly decided to go mental and expose the entire film in one go, just winding and exposing. I think I know what I did wrong there now that I've read the instruction manual, but this is as much a test of that to see if I'm right, and if not, well, the camera might get sold as spares repairs. But yeah, it's also got what's called semi-automatic mode. Automatic, where it's automatic aperture priority. When it's an aperture priority, and I'll come to this later when I show you the viewfinder display, it doesn't always show you, doesn't show you what the shutter speed is, but it does give you a warning if the shutter speed is way too low. Okie dokie, put this back, and I'll get ready for the next bit of this video. Okay, now to load this thing with film. Now the instructions is to set this to the position 250 for some reason, I do not know why. Yeah, so your speed dial, set it to 250th of a second, and then at the bottom press that button to release the back, and see in there you've got DX coding, film mode, and then the film spool, not good. So I have got a old bit of bulk film that has been unfortunately exposed, and the instructions are quite specific, and I should have had this set up quicker, but hey, I'm only going to be partially professional for once. So load the film in, so you have to load the film in like so, wind it forwards, making sure that it's on the sprocket hole, and the instructions say about halfway across this hole here. So we then close the door, and it's showing 0 right now, so if I press that once, still showing 0, press it twice, still showing 0. Press it 3 times and you're showing 1, so you're into film position 1 now, and the camera's pretty much ready to use. So I'm going to show you a few viewfinder display things hopefully, and then we'll be ready to, and then we'll be ready to hopefully shoot off this film until it's empty, and how to rewind the beastie as well. Okay. So here we go. The viewfinder display. On the left hand side you've got a green dot and a red dot that's flashing, which is saying that it's underexposed, I think. And yeah, so you just play about with aperture ring until you just have a green dot, or the shutter speed. There, and now it's perfectly exposed, hopefully, I hope. No, it's gone to over, yep, it's perfect exposed, so, and then you just press the shutter button. But it's not letting me do that right now for some reason. Yeah. Okay, so that's 2 exposures taken. Next one, I'm going to go into auto mode and try and sort of make sense of it. Actually, I'll just tell you what happens in auto mode. In auto mode, the green light says it's okay, and if you see a red light on it or a green light's flashing, that means it's less than a 30th of a second exposure, and you're going to need a tripod. But yep, that's pretty much it. Sorry about the quality of this viewfinder shot. Okay, so now when the film has detected that it's not going to wind on anymore, it starts flashing on the counter there. And so all that you need to do is press the rewind button. And it does make a hell of a lot of noise. And then it flashes 0 when it's done. And so you then open it up, and haha, it's not actually rewound the film. Yeah, and that's my fault. That's just, there's nothing there to hold the film in place. But anyway, yeah, that's the general gist of it. And the reason why it's not fully rewound is because the film's actually slipped out the bottom of this bulk film cassette which I was using, and so it wasn't getting a good grip of it in there. But that's basically your Zenit. Right then, just a wee thing on why that didn't rewind properly, and that the bulk film cassette doesn't quite fit into the, it's a bit smaller, and it had slid down there and it wasn't flush with the film guides there. So that's something to worry about, but as it's DX coded, I'm not likely to ever be using bulk film cassettes in this camera. And so KM Plus, K-mount lens, lens release buttons there, and as I said, now that I've got it mostly working again, I'm going to start using it a bit more often, and at some point you might see some photographs that have been made by it. I seem to have gotten over that problem with the shutter going mental, and yeah, it's I can continue my love of Zenits, which I've had for a long time.